How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal, and today we got another Jaleco game, which was a port of a really popular Commodore 64 game. And this game is interesting because it falls into a genre of game that I don't think a lot of people realized was a genre until years later. Ninja. Ninja games where you played as a ninja were a big deal on the NES. And they were a big deal throughout the life cycle of the console. We had games where you played as ninjas fighting shady government operations. You had ninjas that fought alien invasions. You had ninjas that fought organizations that were trying to bring a demon to Earth. And then you have this game where you play as a ninja who got teleported to New York in the 80s and had to fight his enemy who was still tracking him and trying to eliminate him. Today, we look at the NES port of The Last Ninja 2, which on the NES was simply called The Last Ninja. Now, I know that part was kind of weird, but it makes sense. So, on the Commodore 64, the original game was The Last Ninja, and then the sequel, The Last Ninja 2. And The Last Ninja 2 is what got ported to the NES, and Jaleco named it The Last Ninja. Now, it's an interesting enough game. It's an interesting premise. It's more an action-adventure game than just a straight-up action game. And the gameplay is a lot more deliberate and less frenetic than other games where you played as a ninja on the NES. For instance, there is no wall jumping, stuff like that. Actually, there's very little actual platform. There's no platforming in this game. There's a little jumping, but there's a lot more exploration going on. So it's a lot more subtle in its movements. And that's why I say that compared to other games where you played as ninjas on the NES, this was probably the driest of those games. This game is pretty dry. It's pretty. You can tell it was a port of a game that was popular on computer platforms at one point, because it's a lot more deliberate, a lot more stoic, a lot more based on exploration and finding items, stuff like that, than it is just running, using your sword, using shuriken, jumping over pits, stuff like that. Music was solid, and it was kind of weird for NES game music, but again, this game captured the feel of that second Last Ninja game on the Commodore 64 and Apple II and all those other computer platforms. However, because of the limitations of the NES compared to those platforms, this game is lacking stuff. It's lacking a lot graphically. It's lacking a lot as far as sound quality, stuff like that. There's some you can get lost real easy in this game. There's points where if you don't use an item in the right place, you're kind of stuck, and you gotta backtrack, find that item, and start over. Stuff like that. But this game is okay. If I'm gonna play a ninja game, it's gonna be Shadow of the Ninja, or Ninja Crusaders, or Ninja Gaiden, or Ninja Gaiden 2. I'm gonna stop though. Jalico tried so hard and got so far. This wasn't the one for them though. However, if you like The Last Ninja, and there are people who like this game, and you want a physical of it, physical start at about $20, and they tick up from there. Complete copies are about 150, something like that, maybe more, but it's not. I don't see, unless you solely collect complete copies, I don't see why needing a complete copy of The Last Ninja is completely necessary. It's an okay game, but again, if we're going to compare it to other games where you play as ninjas, this one's definitely an acquired taste, but it's not the best thing involving ninjas on the NES by a long shot. This has been the 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow. Tomorrow, it was like Ice Climber and Bubble Bobble mixed together and cuter. I don't know how that's possible.